Hi, guys. So I wanted to come on and share a little bit of news. It's we we really want it to be like good news, but it's kind of like weird news right now because we don't really have answers for what's happening. Um, but I did want to give everybody updates because it's very interesting and it is exciting. Like it is something to celebrate. It's not something to take lightly that it's happening. So I saw my oncologist for the second time. This is only the second visit. And on the first visit, they took like tons of vials of blood and just to get like my past history and like just everything, right? And um, so on the second visit, I come in and he has like his PA come in and talk to me a little bit. And the PA had mentioned, he's like, yeah, so we did the gene tests and they were all negative. And I kind of looked at him funny and I was like, okay, like I didn't really, like I didn't really understand what he was talking about, but I was like, okay. And then the doctor came in and he was like, so we looked for the gene testing and the Jack mutation. It's called a Jack2 mutation that signals the bone marrow to act, not right. And I don't, like not like it's supposed to, and begins to make the fibrosis and the scarring and stuff. That Jack2 mutation was not showing up in my blood. And in 2021, it's glitching. I don't know why, but in 2021, when I was diagnosed, it was there. It was that was like one of the markers for me being diagnosed for this or whatever. So we don't know if because I'm on a specific medication for this gene mutation. So the medication could be like hiding the gene mutation, or it could have like completely just like made it go away. So, I mean, it's good news because that just means that is not signaling, that's no longer signaling my blood to act weird anymore, my bone marrow to act weird anymore. The problem is that my numbers are still really bad. My platelets are still really high. My red blood cells are still really low. I have this thing called necrotic anemia. So like my red blood cells are really big and there's not enough of them. so um, so we still have to find out what's wrong with me, like what it is that's signaling my bone marrow to act weird like that. So we still don't have all the answers. So do you see what I mean? Where it's like kind of weird, like you want to celebrate, but then you're just like, well, there's still something wrong. so, and until we know like what it is and like how we can fix it, there's really like, we're just in like a lot of a state of limbo right now. There's a lot of waiting that's going on and having to be patient. And that's hard to do. That's really hard to do, especially like under this astrology. It's like ridiculously hard to do, to be patient and to wait. And it's just been really difficult to get access to state help, like the state, the SNAP benefits and like all of those things for, I mean, like I'm on Medicaid and I'm not, working steadily right now. So I'm on, and it's like, being able to get that stuff really helps to not stress about certain things. And so it's been a little bit of difficulty to get like all of that in line, but I'm really hoping that by the time Saturn is direct, like, because it's in our sixth house, me and Henry and I both, it's Saturn is retrograde in our sixth house. So it's like everyday life things have been like chaos and scattered, and like we really have to pay attention to the details, otherwise we're like having to backtrack and do things. And caught myself a couple times having to like backtrack and do things because I wasn't paying attention to what I needed to be paying attention to. So yeah, like I'm really hoping when Saturn is direct things start to go a little bit smoother. which happens coincidentally on Friday in just a couple of days with the Taurus full moon. The Taurus full moon will be conjunct Uranus at a degree. So Uranus is at 24 degrees and the full moon, I'm sorry, Uranus is at 25 degrees and the full moon, Taurus full moon, is at 24 degrees. So wherever Taurus is in your chart, there could be an unexpected surprise coming your way. Like Taurus is really the sign of creating your own resources and just, you know, like being artistic about things, but also creating those resources and like making it solid. I know a lot of Taurians just in general who are like super duper entrepreneurial people, and just love, you know, I mean, Tauruses love to be their own bosses. We'll just leave it at that. Um, but yeah, so with this Taurus full moon, you know, we have Saturn stationing direct. Saturn is already at that 12 degrees and 41 seconds that it will station on Friday, right after the full moon or during the full moon, or it's like, I don't know the exact time frames, but it's very close to happening. So, and also just, you know, honorable mention, the day after the Taurus full moon, we have Venus now in Capricorn will be square the nodes, still in Aries and Libra, which will be bouncing back to Pisces and Virgo, Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node, I believe in January. I'm going to start looking up. Usually I have at least half the year looked at by now, and I have not looked at any of the astrology for next year. And it's just because we've been so busy. Like, I mean, we've had a few things going on. It's, you know, it hasn't been, I've had to direct my energy in other ways, but we do have Venus square the nodes, and also honorable mention the sun opposite Uranus during this full moon. So it's happening. It's just not exact until the day after the full moon. But so, yeah, so there are some, you know, wherever Capricorn is, you know, wherever those nodes are, you know, and wherever that T square is going to be happening for you, it feels like there's an ending and a new beginning sort of all opening up at the same time with this full moon in Taurus. It feels very much like chapters are finally closed and there are new beginnings that are starting. And there are even, like, with Uranus involved, you know, I know everybody thinks that Uranus is like such a bad guy because he promotes change, but he's actually like pushing us all towards that spiritual growth and those awakenings and those aha moments and like, oh my God, why have I been asleep for so long kind of moments. I'm, you know, I have learned very much, you know, Uranus is in my second house. And so, you know, creating my own resources and utilizing my own resources, not in a usual way that other people would do it, has actually brought a lot of surprises into my life. So Uranus, you know, I've come to really respect his role and his place in the cosmic story that we're all playing under right now. We do also have just a couple of days, 4 days after the full moon, Pluto will ingress Aquarius on the 19th of November. Pluto will ingress Aquarius until January 19th, 2044. So for the next 20 some odd years, we will have Pluto in Aquarius. And I feel like, you know, it's not like a fear. Like, I don't want anybody to be afraid, but Pluto in Aquarius is really going to be changing the way we look at a lot of structure. And, you know, I mean, we were that, you know, Pluto in Capricorn, you know, came in to build a lot of structure, and it sort of like warped, like it was too far, it wasn't balanced, right? There wasn't a balance of, you know, it's the people of this world are the ones that keep the world going. It's not the leaders and the dictators and the ones that are on the news and are up on their high horses. And I'm talking about everybody. I'm not there. I'm not taking sides, not taking any sides, but you know, it's true. It's like we're the ones that keep the world running. You know what I mean? Like we're if we weren't all the little ants marching, then what there wouldn't even be anything rule, right? To rule over, to be the president over, to be the dictator over, to be the what the fuck ever over, right? Like if we weren't here, there wouldn't be something like that. Wouldn't even be necessary, right? Like all these millions of tiny little ants just running around thinking that like this one person is going to change their life. Please, please come back to yourselves and stop hurting each other. That's what I feel like Pluto in Aquarius is going to do. Because it's true. Like there's been so much like just needless, mean things that are being said like out of the mouths of humans to each other. And it's not the end of the world. You know, it's just not. It's not the I'm just there are things that are worse. So I do this with my beet juice, by the way. I'm being a 100% Virgo. I have 3 drinks on my table right now. I have my chai coffee. I have my beet and apple and other delicious carrots and stuff juice. I'll put the recipe down below if anybody's interested. Part of my holistic things, and the funny thing is you know, speaking of things changing, with you know Pluto moving into Aquarius and with Saturn stationing direct, and we have the Taurus full moon, you know, conjoining Uranus, um, and you know even the Sun will be ingressing Sagittarius on the 21st. Like there's a lot still happening in November. There's a lot before Thanksgiving for sure. So I do have to have another bone marrow biopsy, which is probably the least fun thing that I've ever, like it's right up there with having a migraine and having a or have, not having a migraine, having a blood clot in your brain. It's right there with it. Like it's really just not the most fun thing on the planet to do. So I have to do that on November 19th. So um you know, everybody who has gotten a reading from me, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much you're helping me be able to like um, take some of the holistic measures that I need to take to like once and for all get rid of whatever is going on inside of my body. And I'm working with someone very closely right now. I'm like trying to save up money to get my hair analyzed because she can compound. Anyway, she's got all of her MDs and pharmacologies and all of that stuff. So um, she's certified in all those areas. I don't want anybody to think that I'm like going to whack jobs and just like taking whatever. Like I'm a Virgo. I research my stuff before I like take any steps on doing anything to myself, especially now. Like maybe not so much before, but definitely now I'm doing a lot more of that. So November 19th, which is funny. I was looking at that. That's the day that Pluto ingresses Aquarius, but November 19th, I knew that that was a big deal when I was making the date. I was like, there's something going on that day. I don't remember, but that is the day of the bone marrow biopsy. So if everybody could kind of like, I don't know, remind themselves on that day and kind of just send a little prayer upstairs that they find something that's like super duper easily curable and they can wipe it out like that and I can move on with my life and whatever. Because whatever's still happening in my body is still making me very tired, and it's still making me, excuse me, still making it's, my body is working way too hard to make red blood cells, put it that way. And in doing that, my hormones, like the cortisol, is like raging all the time. So like I am doing things, in such like a stress-free kind of way. So everybody who did get readings from me, I really appreciate getting readings from me, and I am getting them to you. I don't want any, I received them. I don't want anybody to think that I've like, forgotten anything. And if you feel like you need to reach out to me and to make sure that, usually I ask for about 7 days, but if you feel like even before then you need to reach out, you can. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I'll let you know that it's still coming, and even give you an estimated date. But I really get like weird news throughout the day sometimes, and like my emotions kind of go up and down, and I am not the one that's going to read when I'm having like a really big emotional day. Like, I tried to read yesterday and I was like, there's no way. That I had like, I just got some really terrible news, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do anything now. Like, I just kind of shut down. And I think sometimes you just sort of have to like mentally take care of yourself. So anyways, I'm not late on getting anybody's readings out yet, but I just want to let everybody know that I appreciate everybody who gets the readings and then they're patient with it. I do still have like I believe two openings in November. If you would like to get a reading, the 6-month January through June 2025 tarot forecast is the only reading that I am offering right now. But anybody who gets a reading right now is really like helping me to all of these holistic measures. And it is not cheap. Like, I have to let you guys know, like, the holistic stuff, it's not like I can get a prescription to get the freshest fruits and vegetables for me to be able to juice in the morning. It's not like I can get a prescription from a doctor to be able to get my hair analyzed and see what kind of toxins and metals that my body is holding on to. And I mean, like, I can't, you can't do that. And I am on Medicaid. So this holistic stuff is a lot more expensive, and I just want to get my body back to normal running condition. Pre 2018, I think, is when I actually started getting sick, about 2018. You guys can go back and look at videos and kind of see like where I'm starting to look a little bit more tired. I'm starting to gain a little bit more weight pretty rapidly. It's about 2018, like towards the end of it, maybe beginning of 2019. I don't really remember, but like, you can see the transformation starting to happen, and like me gaining all of this weight, and like this is like how like it's how hard my body's been working. It's just a testament to like how hard my body's just been trying to survive, and it's just cortisol and cortisol and cortisol. Like, does not matter what I eat, it like turns it right into sugar. It's ridiculous. So yeah, so been doing a lot of researching up on things like that, and yeah, I have a lot of hope with the information that we've been getting. I have a lot of hope with it. So I'm just going to try and keep a positive attitude. It's really difficult to work with the government on a lot of things. I think that's like one of the biggest things is like fighting against the government. I use a lot of my energy to fight against the government. And it's like, I mean, they're going to pay for all of this because I'm not the one that did it to myself. I'm the one that's undoing it. But all right. So I do want to do a little card reading. just for this coming full moon and sort of the end of November, like the energy behind this Taurus full moon and the end of November. Let's see what it is that we can expect. Interesting. It is so dry in New York. Prayers up for all the people in New Jersey and New York that have wildfires right now going on. Like, I mean, it kind of rained a little bit on Monday, but it has not rained at all since we got here. It was like flood raining when we got here. And since then, it's been like so little rain, and it's just really dry. It feels like in Pueblo, it's all dry and like. Okay, so we have the Devil and the Page of Cups and the Page of Pentacles. It's really interesting. Like, I feel like so the Devil is making me feel like there's a lesson for both of these pages here. The Page of Cups is somebody who's like kind of whining to get their way, like, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it now. And then the Page of Pentacles can sometimes not really it's not really like offer as much as it's like they say they're going to offer you all of this, but they're really going to, it's like the person that has a loaf of bread, but they're only giving you breadcrumbs. That's kind of how I see the Page of Pentacles, like somebody who has, they have the resources, they have all of the things that they need, they have, you know, the money and they have the lifestyle and they have all of the stuff, but they're very like breadcrumby about like giving and being there. And so there's some kind of lesson. The Devil also, in a lot of ways, makes me feel like the structure, because it's Saturn, right? Saturn rules the Devil. So there's some kind of lessons we're really learning about the structures that we've built. And that makes sense as we're leaving Pluto in Capricorn and we're moving on to Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto in Capricorn is very much about the structures and the changing of the structures that we've built. How interesting. Wow. So I've got 3 queens out here. We've got the Queen of Cups. We've got the Queen of Wands, and we have the Queen of Pentacles. We also had the 7 of Wands came out on the Queen of Pentacles. So the setting of boundaries, it feels like there's some kind of like setting of boundaries too. The queens, we're going to clarify this here in a minute, but it you know, I'm not, I've wow. The Queen of Cups is somebody who's extremely emotional. She really rules through her heart and through her emotions. The Queen of Wands is kind of like the manifester through her divine and sacred rage, her divine and sacred, need to be, the need for justice, right? Like that's how I really see the Queen of Wands. She makes changes and rules her land, through, burning things down so that they can be rebuilt, basically. And the Queen of Pentacles is the nurturing, more nurturing kind of queen, the one that, and the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Wands can also be extremely nurturing, but it feels like and this kind of feels almost like it's one person's story that I'm about to tell, but it feels like there's a gang of women coming together. Like, I don't know, and it feels almost like they're protesting in some kind of way. It's like they asked for what they wanted, and they were almost like just hit, like smashed down, like, no, you can't have that kind of thing. And now with this Seven of Wands, they're like ready to set the boundaries for others and ready to, I don't know, it feels almost like if it were a witch's coven, they are putting up a protection spell around them. If it were like a church group, a prayer, they're doing prayers around each other or something like that. But it feels like women protecting women. That's what this feels like in a lot of ways. Like there's this rally of women protecting women. And again, like I am not biased towards what happened in the election at all. I don't 100% do not care who won. Like, I'm just going to say it. I do not care whether it was, Trump who won, which it was, or Harris who would have won. Like, I genuinely do I care. I'm reading the cards, the energy that I'm getting. But it does. It genuinely kind of feels like there's this, and it might even not just be women. It just feels like more of like a feminine energy sort of needing to like protect each other or something like that in some way. Let's clarify. Let's do a clarification. But I have seen a lot of that, like, wasn't thinking about that this morning, but here we are. Now that we are talking about it, I have seen quite a bit of women feeling like they have to protect themselves from whatever. And there is this level of rebuilding a foundation and really needing to surrender yourself to, whatever the things that are happening. The Three of Pentacles came out on the Devil. I feel like some of us in rebuilding a foundation, we have learned some lessons from the past. And are utilizing those lessons really well in order to rebuild for the future. And then we have the Nine of Wands on the Page of Cups. I feel like the Nine of Wands, like I literally want to just be like, it's about surrendering. It's about surrendering to this Seven of Wands feeling down here. The feeling of needing to have to protect yourself in every single way. Like women have had to protect themselves from the beginning of time. Like, let's just get real, right? I firmly believe in women needing to protect themselves. Like I don't go anywhere without Henry. He's my bodyguard. And like before that, I didn't go anywhere without a knife in my pocket. Like I would walk through parking lots at night, and I would make sure that I had either like a really sharp, some kind of sharp thing in my hand walking to my car. Like there's been too many stories too close to home. So I fully understand that. So there's a matter of protecting yourself, and then there's a matter of, Khaleesi, you don't have to climb the walls, honey. She like jumps and scrapes the wall. All right, Page of Pentacles. But it's like whatever you're asking for, right? That Page of Cups is the thing. The Page of Cups is the thing. Whatever it is that you have been asking for, there's this surrendering. That's what I feel like the full moon in Taurus and then the second half of November is doing for you. It's like the need to surrender and just focus. If you want to have more in your life, there's this need to focus. Building foundations are about the, wow, she is on one. That was her like running through. But building foundations are about the grind. You know what I mean? It's like you don't have to kill yourself. Like, I don't mean, the grind in my past used to be me working an entire day from like 7 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock at night. I'd go pick up my kids from school. I'd come home, I'd open up my laptop while I'm cooking dinner for my kids and then work until like midnight. That used to be the grind for me back in the day when I was a project manager in telecom. That's what I would do every single night. I was just having this conversation with one of my older boys, the ones that are in their 20s, and they were like, yeah, we watched you like do that like all the time. It was nice actually when I quit doing that and started reading cards for a living, because I was able to spend time with my kids again. But there is a certain amount of like having, making sure that you're doing everything that you possibly can, and you're, putting all of the pieces together. That Eight of Pentacles is very Sun in Virgo. Pay attention to the details. And with this Saturn in Pisces, very much the Devil and the Page of Cups, by the way. With this Saturn in Pisces stationing direct, there's really not much you can do except for surrender to what Saturn's list of, these are the things that we're going to have to go back over. Like, these are the things that we're going to have to look at in order for you to continue on living the life that you want to live. And like, might feel a little bit uncomfortable for a little while, but these are the things, right? These are the bullet points of your Saturn retrograde that you screwed up on. Building the foundation. Judgment came out for the Queen of Cups. Let's see, Queen of Wands. Queen of Pentacles. All right. Oh, look at that. Okay, okay. Bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Pentacles. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. She's running around like crazy over here. Excuse me one second. Judgment on the Queen of Cups. The Hanged Man on the Queen of Wands. and the Knight of Swords on the Queen of Pentacles. And then we have the Ace of Wands on the Seven of Wands. It feels like a perspective shift. I feel like it almost makes me feel like I'm torn in some way, where I really want to rush into something, but at the same time I know that I have to be patient for things to happen, because there's not, I've done my part, right? I've looked at all my details and I've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. And even if I haven't, I have found out what it is that I need to do that. And I've taken steps in order to do that. And now I just have to be patient for my next, waiting for. And I have had to learn so much that in a world where like I've done this before. Like I have worked with the state and their benefits before. I've done that before. I have worked with Medicaid before. I've done that before, but I haven't worked with that in this same state. And so no matter how much knowledge I may understand about it or whatever, it's different everywhere I go. And so I have to really allow myself to be patient with the people on the phone. They don't know who I am. They don't know what I'm talking about. They don't, all of those things. Like I've learned, and I keep telling everybody, like my life is another level of patience every single day. It's another level of patience. And like all the medications that I'm on really makes me like higher risk for like heart disease and high blood pressure and like all of that stuff. And so I really have to remain calm. And the more I allow myself to see that different perspective and see and like pull back and like recognize that all the steps that I'm doing, I'm creating a new foundation, right? Like I'm building a new foundation. We're building a new foundation. There's it's almost like a requirement is it's as or patience is like the requirement for that foundation building. Saturn teaches that. Like when I found out what being a 12th house Saturn meant and what it required of me, I didn't even think that I could live up to that. Live up to, like having that kind of patience all the time. So, Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, Six of Pentacles, and then the Three of Swords, Empress in the World. Okay. So there might be something that's ending down the road. Like there might be like a project that's ending or something like that. But I feel like with the Ace of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles, there might, for some of you, there might be some kind of offering that's coming. I always like to see the Ace of Pentacles with some kind of offering from the universe as like, in a material way, where it's like monetary or it's, a car or a house or like whatever. It could be something that you're purchasing. You might have gotten a really good deal on it or something like that. But with the Six of Pentacles, it makes me feel like there's almost an exchange that happens that comes with this offering. But what I want to talk about is the Ace of Wands with the Seven of Wands. That Seven of Wands can actually block the Ace of Wands if you're not keeping an open perspective. If you're not allowing yourself to see, the bigger picture and it's like a lot of people have a hard time surrendering because they have a lot of pride. And pride doesn't really get you anywhere. It can get you into some pretty dark places, but it doesn't really get you anywhere. So just sort of allowing yourself to see things from a different perspective right now, allowing yourself to be like, reminding, that balance, right? Allowing yourself to see that there has to be some kind of balance in the world, and that balance means the balance of power has to continue back and forth until we're able to see it as a unity instead of two opposites, right? So yeah, so there's a lot that's going on, it feels like, but yeah, the perspective, building a new foundation. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me and getting the updates and all of that stuff. And take good care of yourselves and take good care of each other. And I will see you very soon. Bye.